Guys, welcome to another episode of About Time with Michael. Today I have another Rolex because I love Rolex and I want to do a Rolex stint for you and show you some different models. But you know what? I don't have another dive watch. I have something even cooler. I have what they call the hardest Rolex to get, and that's a Steel Daytona. Not only is it a Steel Daytona, it is what they call a 116520 model. So it is pretty traditional, still has a steel bezel. I'm gonna go through that with you in a minute. But it's really cool because it's new old stock, which is even better, so wait till you see this. Box wise, again, Rolex changing colors, this is what they do. Change the outer box, change the inner box. Sometimes they do change if the color changes, sort of how they've been stored. But you still have that same sort of green box with a pattern on top. Gold Rolex crown as usual, and stampings on the back. Cool thing I haven't shown you yet because you've only seen Submariner booklets. This is a Daytona chronograph booklet. That's their instruction booklet on how to work their movements, things like that. This is a 4-1-30 movement in this, by the way, just so if you don't know. And it's got an Easylink added to the clasp. So this is the model reference that came after the Zenith Daytona. How cool is that when they got like the family of watches there? I think it's great how they did that. This one's cool because it has obviously everything, bezel protector and both swing tags. This one also has the serial number, which is a G, so yeah, around that sort of 2010. And that's the watch. Oh, I've got the little tissue thingy jiggy in there. Where is it? Here we go. I'm gonna pull this out because I don't think there are many watches like this left. This is fully wrapped, fully stickered. I can't even open it because it's fully wrapped still, but I'm going to show you under the camera what I'm talking about. When I say fully wrapped, that's fully wrapped with stickers. So another watch that hasn't seen the light of day, it has been hiding away somewhere in a safe, in a safety deposit box by a collector. By the way, these aren't my watches. These are someone very special to me, and he has lots of money and he just bought them and he just put them away. Talk about phases. Daytona went through a whole bunch of phases. The first phase started in 1963 all the way through to 1987. Those watches were like the big red sort of Daytonas. They were all manual wound. The second phase ran from 1988 to 2000, where they're all self-winding chronograph Daytonas, but they were Zenith Daytonas around that era. They're really awesome. They're one of my favorite watches to wear. And then from the Zenith Daytona, they went to the third phase, which was this one here. So around 2000 to 2016, they did the 116520 model, which is what this one is. This is the first model that they got to release with their own in-house chronograph movement. So well done, Rolex, for doing that. That's fantastic. Black, they only made them in black and white dials. Everybody loves a white dial, but for me, give me the black dial any day of the week. The fourth phase ran from 2016 to 2023, so that was known as the 116500 model. That came with a ceramic bezel. I love the steel bezels. I think they're very classic for Rolex Daytona models. This is sort of like going to be neo vintage in the next sort of 10 years. Yeah, it's a great looking watch. And then we have a fifth phase, which is the new 126500. I've got one of those. I can put it next to it in a minute and show you the difference. Unfortunately, the 126500 I've got is been worn, but this model here also had a funny lug, which was really cool. Like the lug near, I'll point it out to you so you can actually see what I'm talking about, because we've had so many people come in and complain about it, but it's actually just how Rolex made the watch. So if you look at the lug on this side, it is thinner than the lug on that side. And that's just how Rolex made that. If you look closely, you can see the difference in the thickness. That's just normal for a Daytona. That's just the way they made it. Now I'm going to show you next to a 126500. There we go. Two iconic references. Big jump up in regards to, so the subdials are thinner on the 126-500, the hands are thinner, and so the hour markers, if you look closely to the hour markers on this model, they went back to a zenith looking hour marker, I reckon, and hands. They're thinner, they're more pointier, whereas on the 116-520 model, they are thicker. They also obviously added the ceramic bezel, which they did on the 116-500 model, but on the 126-500 model, you now have that outer ring on the bezel, which I love. I think it looks fantastic on there. It gives it that sort of more of a vintage feel, like, you know, the old vintage Daytonas. The lugs now are thicker on the newer model as well. You can see they're longer, they're straighter, they're thicker, whereas the 116-520 model is thinner and shorter. All right. Bracelet is pretty much the same, not huge differences there. The crowns and the pushes are pretty similar as well. I think the crown looks a little bit bigger on the older model, but very similar. But the writing layout is very similar as well on the dial. Crown sort of sits a little bit bigger on the new model at the top. But, you know, they're relatively, thickness-wise, they're about the same thickness. There's not much difference in them. But these are the hardest watch. This watch at the time sort of started a massive craze with Rolex. You know, 2010, 2014, the Steel Daytona has always been one of the hardest watches to get. It's just the way it was. You would rarely see them in shop windows for sale. You know, people used to say that Rolex used to make less of them. I don't know what the story is with that, but they were always delivered in shorter supply than any other model from the Rolex range. Yeah, so that is a sort of flagship piece for them. It was a watch that a lot of race car drivers wore. It was a watch actually in the early 60s that nobody wanted. It wasn't popular whatsoever. I remember seeing a ad where secondhand dealers and watch buyers would have a sign up on their front, or jewelers would have a sign up on their door saying, we buy all Rolex watches, but not a Daytona. Over the years, that's changed a lot. I think it was thanks to the Italians, I hear, that made this watch popular again. So well done, guys. And in probably the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, this watch took off crazy. And then by about sort of 2005, 2006, it was the watch to have. You needed to have one of these. You need to try and find one. Dealers would have them, but they'd be very selective on who they gave them to, pretty much like today. And yeah, so they've always been one of the hardest watches to get in the Rolex range. So do I think it's an investment? Yes, I do. I remember my first one in 2014 cost me around $12,000. Today, I could probably sell that watch for, you know, $30,000 without any issues. So a Steel Daytona is a good investment if you buy it at the right price. I'm not saying go and find a new old stock stickered one like this, because, you know, they're as rare as hen's teeth. But they are a nice watch, and I suggest going to try one on. They fit perfect. They wear a little bit smaller than some of the other models in that 5-digit range of the era. They are a 40mm case, but they're a nicer, slimmer lug. I like them. So if you get a chance to try one on, please do. You know, you don't have to buy one on the secondary market like the new 126 model and pay, you know, $40,000, $50,000. You can buy one of these for $30,000, and they're a great watch to have. So if you can do without the date, so it doesn't have a date on it, that's good. I don't really use the chronograph very much unless I'm sort of, you know, timing a steak or something like that. But for me, that's a really nice watch. That's a safe investment. Buy it at the right price, guys. Enjoy it, wear it. And if you don't want it, bring it into a dealer and sell it. And I'm pretty sure you get most of your money back. So that's all for me today. If you have any questions, shoot us a message at the bottom of the comments section. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We're building up our subscriber list. And next week, I'm going to do one more Rolex for you guys. So all you Rolex haters out there, just miss the episode if you really want. But all you guys that love Rolex like me, I will do one cool watch next week. And then we'll move on to something different. We'll see you next time. Take care.